The Raiders are now on the clock.
Got the streets on our knees going, hey, 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 hey. Oh, keep running. Oh, keep running. Oh, keep running. Each and each and oh, keep running. Oh, keep running. Oh, keep running. Each and each and falling too fast to prepare for this, tripping in the world.
The London Black Knights are now on the clock.
Negative, nepotist, everybody waiting for the fall of man, everybody praying for the end of times, everybody hoping they could be the one. I was born to run, I was born for this. Whip, whip, run me like a racehorse, pull me like a ripcord, break me down and build me up. I wanna be the slip, slip, word upon your lip, lip, rather that you rip, rip, break me down and build me up. Whatever it takes, 'cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. I do whatever it takes, 'cause I love how it feels when I break the chains. Whatever it takes, yeah, take me to the top. I'm ready for whatever it takes, 'cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. I do what it takes. Always had a fear of being typical, looking at my body feeling miserable, always hanging on to the visual. I wanna be invisible, looking at my years like I'm martyrdom. Everybody needs to be a part of them, never be enough from the prodigal son. I was born to run, I was born for this. Whip, whip, run me like a racehorse, pull me like a ripcord, break me down and build me up. I wanna be the slip, slip, word upon your lip, lip, rather that you rip, rip.
The Panthers are now on the clock.
Whatever it takes, 'cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. I do whatever it takes, 'cause I love how it feels when I break the chains. Whatever it takes, yeah, take me to the top.
The Panthers are now on the clock.
'Cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. I do what it takes. Hypocritical, egotistical. Don't wanna be the parenthetical, hypothetical. Working under something that I'm proud of. Out of the box, an epoxy to the world and the vision we've lost. I'm an apostrophe. I'm just a symbol to remind you that there's more to see. I'm just a product of the system of catastrophe.
The Vikings are now on the clock.
And yet I'm half deceased, and when I am deceased, at least I go down to the grave and die happily, and leave the body of my soul to be a part of me. I do what it takes, whatever it takes.
The Seahawks are now on the clock.
In my veins, I do whatever it takes, 'cause I love how it feels when I break the chains. Whatever it takes, yeah, take me to the top. I'm ready for whatever it takes, 'cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. I do what it takes.
The Rams are now on the clock.
He's off the board now, so tell us more about the spicy pick of peppers, Adam.
After turning in an average performance at the Combine, his pro day was a last-chance effort to show off his athleticism. He kicked off the day by running his 40 time in just under 5 seconds. Nothing special, but what scouts were most impressed with was his 10-yard split. He tested faster than most other linemen in the draft. At the sound of the gun, he was out of his stance and passed the 10-yard marker in around 1.5 seconds. That's the kind of burst that coaches love to see from their big guys. Also told, he showed great bend in the knees and his footwork was sharp during drills. One GM told me he looked like the most complete lineman in the class, and it's no surprise he's already been picked up. He should be a solid anchor for this team in the future.
Either way, a hater always gonna hate, yeah. Mad at me cause I'm trying to feed my I'm supposed to make it out and I don't bring my No way, no way, no way.
The Vikings are now on the clock.
And they here to stay, yeah. I heard these always hating, said I never make it. I heard these always talking with them. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, yeah. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, yeah. I heard he's mad at me cause I'm getting money. I heard he's mad at me cause he's on me. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, yeah. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
Pick's been made. Let's go to Adam Schefter to hear more about the player.
Big-time players make big-time plays, and that's exactly what he was able to do late in the season as he found the end zone again and again. He faced some fierce competition with regards to who the number 1 rated running back was in the draft, and it was his workhorse mentality late in the season that Todd McShay pointed to when he moved into the top spot in his position evaluations. How you finish a season as a back is so important, especially when an NFL team is looking to give you 20-plus touches per game. Most backs hit a wall due to the physicality of the position, but he actually seemed to get stronger as the season progressed, something his new team has to be extremely excited about.
It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I heard he's mad at me cause I'm getting money. I heard he's mad at me cause he's on me. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Mad cause I'm trying to feed my family. Why I gotta watch a friend more than an enemy? I had to stun on the that I'm supposed to stunt with. Had to cut you off, you was on some dun. You was supposed to be my dog, why you hate on me? They say success turn your friends to some enemies.
The Bills are now on the clock.
Cause shining now you act shady, yeah. But I guess it's okay. My mama told me you would show me your ways, yeah. But I gotta check with him. I had the bands. Pull up in the land. Diamonds on me look like Ernie. He's always hating, said I never make it. I heard he's always talking with them. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay.
The Steelers are now on the clock.
He's mad at me cause I'm getting money. I heard
The Seahawks are now on the clock.
it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
Picture me putting my city all over the map. They wasn't believers, I had to get even and mad. We coming up, pulling up, jumping all over your grass. So tell them I got a new girl. Tell them that I'm begging, I want on my 50s in cash. I'm tired of living check to check. I need 20 models. This is smiling in my.
All right, team is now off the clock. Adam Schefter, can you tell us about their newest player?
When I ask scouts around the league what his biggest asset is, they always point to his father. His dad is a high school coach that knows how to consistently finish in the top of the school's division. And ever since he was able to walk, he's been on the sidelines for every game. Even after he leaves practice at night, he's still getting advice from his dad at home. And from what I've heard from scouts who watched him play, you can tell the extra coaching has helped. Even during interviews at the Combine, I was told by several GMs that he was one of their favorite players to talk to. He has his dad's eye for the game, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him become a coach one day himself. I like him a lot, and he'll be a great addition to the team.
And now I'm just so what you mean? Woo! Hold up, whoa, what you mean? Woo! Hold up now. Don't know what you think it compare me to. Adrenaline popping, the blood will be leaking and running. Yeah. I do what I do, I don't care if you like it or love it. Tell all of my I got a new girl. Wait. Yo, tell the that I'm the bank and I want all my money in hundreds. I'm tired of living on the edge. I want it, they gon' call the feds. I just bought a cost an arm and leg. My mama told me take it back and get a job instead. Where's your common sense? Me and the devil got too much in common, I swear. Yeah. Born in the ghetto, I never had nothing to fear. Take it how you want it. I ain't famous like I want it, so I might just throw a hissy fit. Call up Cassie after she broke up with Diddy, yeah. I told Shorty if she talking, I ain't. And she gon' call her friends up and we did, whoa. I ain't in the...
The Cardinals are now on the clock.
If I ain't in your top 10, go top 4 for bridge. My black boys that boys that knock off your lid. I thought you gon' pop off, so hop off my... What you mean? I said, what you mean? Listen, I don't trust her, so, no, I said, what you mean? Whoa, I said, what you mean?
You thought I was finished, you thought it was over. You thought I retired, you thought I went fishing with Kobe. I'm still as ill as considered as one of the coldest. Still a put a partner rapper here like Moses. I'm throwback like a molar roller. I'm cooler than a cup of yogurt. Black flag boy, truck soldier. I'm cool with laws and Ayatollahs. Rap gods like Klops and Olga. I'm King Kong, ain't nobody told you. You think Rome still. And Bobby Brown about to go get. Paul McCartney, I'm rich. I'm Muhammad Ali, I talk. I'm James Brown, about to tear down this. I'm Michael Jackson, them bad gon' get. What you mean?
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
Know your place, yeah, know your place, yeah. I got like right now, I'm impatient. I got women on the cell trying to give me. I still wish it would, I still wish them well, yeah. Put my problems in. Only check up.
Let's go to Adam Schefter now, who's got more to say about the Dolphins' latest pick.
He was once regarded as the top quarterback in the draft, but a string of poor performances and a losing season had teams questioning his original position on their boards. He seemed to get in a rut this season, making several critical mistakes while reading coverage that led to interceptions. Once in the rut, he was never able to pull himself out of it, with scouts expressing concern with his accuracy and decision-making abilities. Apparently, these concerns were not enough to keep him from being drafted. GMs either turned a blind eye to his play this year, or they see something in him that others don't right now. This is an interesting pickup.
I got women on the cell trying to give me. I still wish it would, I still wish them well, yeah. Know your place, yeah, know your place, yeah. I got like right now, I'm impatient. I got women on the cell trying to give me. I still wish it would, I still wish them well, yeah. Promises and wishes, candles for my exes now. Ain't no fingers let to count my blessing now. Promises and wishes, trust me, it's been different now. No rings for the things I go.
The Seahawks are now on the clock.
Why would I ever start celebrating? Why would I ever start celebrating? I'm naming all the hearts I've been breaking. I'm naming all the hearts I've been breaking. The shower's on the way. I've been working 25 hours every day. Pull up with the bands, have them dancing in the rain. Pull up with the bands, have them dancing in the rain. Yo. Know your place, yeah, know your place, yeah. I got like right now, I'm impatient. I got women on the cell trying to give me. I still wish it would, I still wish them well, yeah. Know your place, yeah, know your place, yeah. I got like right now.
got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. Quarter piece, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA. I got hustle, though, ambition, flow inside my DNA. I was born like this and born like this, immaculate conception. I transform like this, perform like this with new weapon. I don't contemplate, I meditate, then off your head. This that put the kids to bed. This that I got realness. I just killed this cause it's in my DNA. I got millions, I got riches building in my DNA. I got dark, I got evil that rot inside my DNA. I got off, I got trouble, some heart inside my DNA. I just win again, then win again like Wimbledon I serve. Yeah, that's him again, the sound the engine in is like a bird. You see fireworks and Corvette tires skirt the boulevard. I know how you work, I know just who you are. See, use it. Your hormones probably switch inside your DNA. Problem is, all that inside your DNA. Daddy probably snitch, heritage inside your DNA. Backbone don't exist, born on side a jellyfish I gauge. See my pedigree, most definitely don't tolerate the front. Like been through, probably offend you, this is Paula's oldest son. I know conviction, burners, boosters, ballers, dead, redemption, scholars, fathers, kids and I wish I was fed forgiveness, yeah. Soldier's DNA, born inside the beast. My expertise checked out in second grade. When I was 9, on sale motel, we didn't have nowhere to stay. At 29, I've done so well, hit cartwheel in my estate. And I'm gon' shine like I'm supposed to, antisocial extrovert. And excellent meaning extra work. And absentness, you hurt. And passiveness never struck my nerve. And that's a riff gonna be this case. The reason my power's here on earth. Salute the truth from the prophecy. I got loyalty, got royalty inside
This is
my
why
DNA.
I say that hip-hop has done more damage to young African Americans in recent years.
I live inside my DNA. This is my heritage, all I'm inheriting. Money and power, the Mecca emeritus. Tell me something, you can't tell me nothing. I'd rather than to listen to you. My DNA not for imitation, your DNA an abomination. This how this when you in the matrix, dodging bullets, reaping what you're sowing, stacking up the footage, living on the go and sleeping in the villa, sipping from a Grammy, walking in the building, diamond in the ceiling, marble on the floors, beaches out the window, peeking out the window, baby in the pool, Godfather goes, only Lord knows. I've been going hammer, dodging paparazzi through the cameras, eat it 4 daughters, Brock wearing sandals, yoga on a Monday, stretching to the fan, watching all the snakes, curving all the fakes, phone never own, I don't conversate, I don't compromise, I just penetrate. Money, these are the breaks, these are the times. Level number 9, look up in the sky. Tennis on the way, sinners on the way, on the way. I got winners on the way. You ain't without a on your belt. You ain't without a ticket on your plate. You ain't sick enough to pull it on yourself. You ain't rich enough to hit the ladder skate. Tell me when destruction gonna be my fate. Gonna be a fate, gonna be a fate. Peace to the world, let it rotate. Money, DNA.
I look up. So many.
Oh my God.
So many. I done made sacrifices. So many sacrifices. Straight up. I done gave up so much free time, knowing time ain't free. I sacrificed it. My girl showed me love, she know I make sacrifices. And if it's real love, then you make sacrifices. To get ahead, man, you gotta make sacrifices. That's how hungry my appetite is. Yeah. What you telling me? I sense the jealousy, I got telepathy, I got the recipe, I got the streets and I don't got no felony. Forward thinking, yeah, my mind is ahead of me. Mama said it's gonna be whatever you let it be. It's some homies I grew up with that's dead to me. It's some that I just met in debt to me. What's in common is they both pay respect to me. I get in my way from Friday to Friday. My girl is a mix of Aaliyah and Sade. I came a long way from that Marvin and I pull out
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
And if my she know I'm leaving. No text, no call, but at airplane mode. Cold, no P code, no time to change clothes. Same clothes, love if you're living by the same code.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
Back to my destiny, penthouse, bird's eye view, that's a nest for me. I got myself out of debt, so when you see me, know you somebody I'll never need. Sacrifices. So many sacrifices. Straight up. I done gave up so much free time, knowing time ain't free. I sacrificed it. My girl showed me love, she know I make sacrifices. And if it's real love, then you make sacrifices. To get ahead, man, you gotta make sacrifices. That's how hungry my appetite is. Yeah. I cut the drama out my energy, focus on it.
The 49ers are now on the clock.
And I done sacrificed my own time, I done sacrificed my own mind, I done sacrificed the club life, I done sacrificed my love life. But I cut the drama out my energy, focus on the inner me, never on the enemy. And I done sacrificed my own time, I done sacrificed my own mind, I done sacrificed the club.
The Titans are now on the clock.
I done sacrificed the thug life. Diamond shining, ain't no dull light. Drop my top to get my mind right. Pull up in the Rari loud pipe. Them the dime, my wrist a undone. Ooh, yeah, Gucci Python. Ooh, yeah, she play with her. Yeah, I bought that.
The Bears are now on the clock.
Come see about. Come on, come see. The devil had entered my soul. My mama had beat it out. The devil, my mama. Remember, my grandma had told me you better be somebody.
The Raiders are now on the clock.
I lead the posse. I made an M deposit. Paid all these dudes with the game. Sacrifice your strides for that stain. Sacrifice. Heard you sacrifice your life for that change. She sacrificed that money for white. Left hand got 3 rings. That's brum brum. We up one. Bad, dear savage. Take her to the mall and buy some. That's gonna wanna make your friends come. Make way with the timing. Tell me. Why can't y'all recognize that we all came from sacrifice? Why can't y'all recognize that we all came from sacrifice? 10 toes, yeah, you gotta stay down, eh? Just some yawn, looking for a way out, eh? People watching, yeah, I gotta skip town, eh? Hit my phone if you need a home.
I done made sacrifices. So many sacrifices. Straight up. I done gave up so much free time, knowing time ain't free. I sacrificed it. My girl showed me love, she know I make sacrifices. And if it's real love, then you make sacrifices. To get ahead, man, you gotta make sacrifices. That's how hungry my appetite is. Yeah. I know my great auntie was.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
Imagine all the sacrifice she made. I could own.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
I'ma make sure all the she gave wasn't in vain. I sacrifice for your entertainment, boy. I'm Mr. Anderson in the Matrix. Shake the last name, it's all facts. In the human race, it's all about pacing. Look at all the ones I outlasted. I'm the one at the end, like I count backwards. Never satisfied, details classified till the afterlife. Make a sacrifice done.
Why can't y'all recognize that we all came from sacrifice? Why can't y'all recognize that we all came from sacrifice?
Honorable C notes.
Yeah, little fish. I say, Lord, be my savior when it comes to getting this paper. Please protect me from my haters. Just say me and I won't favor. Say amen. That boys in that can't win. Check. Going up. We in it, we gonna. Going up. Did it like my persona. Going up. Living up was honest. We was in them hard.
The Panthers are now on the clock.
Go up.
The Bills are now on the clock.
Hold up. Go up. Boys, don't touch. We float. Blow up. Yeah. I'm laughing to the bank. All new blue Benny Franks. Pulled up on him in the tank. Yeah. That guy just.
Let's go to Adam Schefter now, who has more to say about McClendon.
In a league where schemes like the Tampa 2 are prevalent, you have to be able to play zone coverage, which was a concern for him at one point. He played mostly man and press in school, so there wasn't any tape of him in zone for scouts to review. When he came to the combine, the big test was to see how he moved in drills like the speed turn and 3-cone. He did enough in those drills to convince scouts that he could be depended on in a cover 2 scheme. Now he has the benefit of being familiar with most of the coverages that NFL defenses run. His versatility can make him an asset on the field, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this team move him around a lot.
Check. Going up. We in it, we gonna. Going up. Did it like my persona. Going up. Living up was honest. We was the drug them hardest. Now we pull up in the furnace. Go up. Walk in. Show up. Bet. Hold up. Go up. Boys, don't touch. We float. Blow up. She lucky. Cause she 5 mil cash in Kentucky. I walk up in Lehman, spend 10K just like this with the fan up. I got Santa. I go monkey. Off that. Gonna do just what I say. Pull up, fast as Uber in that race. She so bad, but she said. I feel guilty, I might as well just plead my case. I say, Lord, be my savior when it comes to getting this paper. Please protect me from.
The Browns are now on the clock.
Say amen. That boys and they can't win. Check. Going up. We in it, we gonna. Going up. Did it like my persona. Going up. Ripping up was honest. We used to drop them hardest. Now we pull up in the furnace. Go up. Walk in. Show up. Baby, hold up. Go up. Boys, don't touch. We flow up.
Well, wait, looks like both war rooms are feverishly back on the phones. I think that means a trade is coming.
You're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the you. Man, know that I kick up the you. Them boy there try to stop the truth. How dare you to stop the truth? Look, you're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the you. Man, know that I kick up the you. Them boy there try to stop the truth. How dare you to stop the truth? Wanna come round there like a bad boy, do it. Want all the talking, go on and do it. Running through the party, bottle up, rolls on my.
The Chargers are now on the clock.
I don't lack, getting with the business, I don't scrap. Even when I'm bar, I'm so easy ride, but there's no car and no match. What you talking about? Clown, stand down, never had a thing, never had a pound. You were never bad then, you ain't bad now, never had a then, look back down. Wait, I saw bare kicks, saw bare clothes, said not that, I can't wear those.
The Bills are now on the clock.
Silent, they're all weirdos, like yeah, Storm's gone clear. Never had a Tom Ford or a Montclair. Man, them a calm, but you see my don there. Tell them don't do it, don't dare. Don't care who you know from my block. You're not Al Capone, they can take my car and my creps. I'll still do the road in my socks. Like who's gonna stop me? You, him, little man. I got blue slims. Don't be an idiot, move smart. I've been killing it, new king. You were never ready for my new stuff. You're a boy by yourself, go and group up. And when Crep went states for the BTs, I was covering Crep like a boot cut. If mad, it's a family thing, straight family thing. Dumb man, I broke.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
Amy telling me to come round hers on a Valerie ting. Hashtag Murky Academy ting. You were like art and the gallery ting. Dumb boy there wanna chat about bars, wanna chat about. You're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the you. Man, know that I kick up the you. Them boy there try to stop the truth. How dare you to stop the truth? Look, I'm too hot. I got money in my shoebox. I'm the man of the house when my show sold out like the brother from the Boondocks. Beat Swan in my boombox. Still meat from the stew pot. Man, I'm go sick when my tune drops. Little man, that's a hooplo, not a hoopla. What? Pronounce it right. I got Maggie, I'm down to die for this. I don't care, bro, I'm down. Man stressed, so I'm bound to lie my slips. Wait, I'm bound to ride for flips. Real G's gonna ride around to this. Man, I got no time to write at this. I never left my 9 to 5 for this waste man thing. I don't care what rave man's in. I came here to relax, but if it gets mad, make a young boy take man's things. Try to tell me I'm way too big to rebel. Nah, man, you're never too big to rebel. I was in the O2 singing my lungs out rude, but you're never too big for Adele. Leave my yard, blow a kiss to my girl. Salute to my sister as well. Gotta keep trophies down at my mum's bit. Man, I'm getting way too big for my shelf. Man, I see bare MCs on the sideline, but I still got a couple bangs in the pipeline. Man, I got grown men at me. You're getting way too old for the timeline. You're getting way too old for it, this. Should've looked after your kids. Get out the booth, go home to your son. It's never too late to commit. It's like man love, put my name in a random flat, get a plane to Qatar. This year I learned how to take care of business. Next year I'll learn how to play the guitar. You're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet. Your face ain't big for my boots. Kick up the you. Man, know that I kick up the you. Them boy there try to stop the truth. How dare you to stop the truth? Look, you're getting way too big for your boots. You're never too big for the boot. I got the big size toes on my feet.
The Seahawks are now on the clock.
Kick up the you.
The Browns are now on the clock.
Boy there try to stop the truth. How dare you to stop the truth?
The Seahawks are now on the clock. The Steelers are now on the clock.
Polo to the flow, though. You already know, though. It's Adamville for real. You see ya, just take a photo. I'm reppin' that's on photo with a on your bro, though. Cause that Dodo thought that he could rob a player for some dodo. Oh no, also Allen Temple. Also England Mountain. I'm so Misty Valley. And I got a couple.
The 49ers are now on the clock.
From the valley, bought me brand new balance. Better playing with a no American dream, dusty road. Man, she been ride since her daddy rode on bold. I done in every hole, telling every I ain't with my wife, but if she meet her, might be a go. Rick Flair flashy. Don't I look dashy? Don't I look classy? Don't act so sassy. I'm the man, boo. That's with or without you.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
Show me what that. I hear him talking reckless. I won't even stress. Just kill him softly with.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
They say lonely at the top, but this the best. Hey, don't you see me out here shining, belly flex? I hear him talking reckless. I won't even stress. Just kill him softly with my press. Won't even address.
The Cardinals are now on the clock.
This the best. And even if we die today, gon' live forever. Live forever.
Daddy Patsy with 3 S's. Pick the S's, no S's on my chest, but all these diamonds got me blessed. Usually I don't do this. Dumb it down, go stupid. Since 17, been counting M's, my bank account's on goofy. Say, gave up. Now who know what the truth is? Chicago full of my garage is full of hoops. This got that southern drawl and all that. My like ball bags. The South got something to say, and all y'all can't get y'all ball back. If I ain't a hot boy, then what do you call sex? Daddy fat, y'all never.
The Vikings are now on the clock.
And we stay eating like it's dinner time. Been feasting and feasting big, but it ain't no rhyme. We don't know the meaning of drought, cause we keep it so wet, boy, I swear now it's been a while. Just speaking in general, boy, there is no formidable opponent or at that bone that never step on it. When you wanna mind the kind of giving hope when they down and out. Dig a hole so deep, ain't no climbing out.
Yeah, I hear him talking reckless. I won't even stress. Just kill him softly with my press. Won't even address.
The Lions are now on the clock.
But this the best. Don't you see me out here shining, belly flex? I hear him talking reckless. I won't even stress. Just kill him softly with my press. Won't even address. They say it lonely at the top. This the best. And even if we die today, don't live forever. Live forever.
The Vikings are now on the clock.
Listen.
The Broncos are now on the clock.
You already know though. So go slow. Back my logo for show. Pogo. Get down on the. Yo, listen. Just like
The Packers are now on the clock.
You already know though. So go slow. Back my logo for show. Pogo.
The Giants are now on the clock. The Lions are now on the clock.
No Harvard, but I was a scholar. Hard knocks, and I learned to be smarter. Don't prefer to be bothered. You get if I order. That's word to my father. I will for my mother. Deal with my brothers. Keep it real. Don't
The Lions are now on the clock.
Undercover, gotta stay on this mission. Got a vision that's endless. They told me don't be a menace. They gon' serve me a sentence. But now I'm up in the illest that did it. Get the cream, look, drop it in it. Give about opinions. I'm just minding my business. If I'm grinding, I'm shining. Don't got time for the gimmicks.
The Bengals are now on the clock.
I'm dead. Squad, I'm dead. Squad, I'm dead. Squad, I'm dead. Squad, I'm dead. Squad.
The Cardinals are now on the clock.
Okay, now we back to square one. It's hard to square up. Everybody got come, mama cries, dead sons. Lord, please bless them. Back to the party. I'm just pouring my. Don't get face step before, so I live it up. When I come, better get them up. That's a floss track, better get them up. I'ma keep eating this a dinner rush. I'll let you finish, y'all. Block of diamonds, I can promise I'm being honest. This being modest. I am your highness. I am the finest. You rappers, plus you a liar. Don't idolize and I don't admire. Been doing me for like ever. I'm a better me, more clever. It's a new way. We surfing, baby, new way. That's a certain, baby. Let's take a ride. Put your for the ones that die. It's fast tonight. Just you and I get lost.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
I'm dead. Squad, I'm dead. Squad, I'm dead. Squad, I'm dead.
The Saints are now on the clock.
I'm dead. Squad.
The Titans are now on the clock.
I'm dead.
The Lions are now on the clock. The Panthers are now on the clock. The Cowboys are now on the clock.
I done came up, busting down the whole broke, it's that bad. Want your people swag. Ain't even got
The Panthers are now on the clock.
that. Please don't touch my rap. Please don't touch my rap. I'm racked up like rappers.
The Browns are now on the clock.
Out on camera, squeeze like asthma. It's rare wrath when I wear wrath, bare wrath when I wear wrath. Might invest into some rap shit, Lord, still shit rap. And I'm
The Vikings are now on the clock.
be the tag, do the digital dash. Yeah, I'm boasting, never brag. Please don't touch my rap.
The Colts are now on the clock.
Alessandra Gucci glasses, the W Anderson collab. Yeah, you probably like it. Yeah, you drop it on the. I'ma buy another.
The Panthers are now on the clock.
Yeah, you know how to make it last. Plus and keeping tabs. I'ma fly first class. Quavo hit him with it. Please don't touch my rap.
The Chargers are now on the clock.
On my Ralph Simmons. Don't step on my Ralph Simmons. Do you know how much I'm spending? My closet, it worth about $1 million. Took the little out the runway. In the kitchen. Ralph Simmons. All kind of crazy colors. Living color. Left wrist. Roll it. Ice. Make some Margiela my sweater. Mama told me never settle. Ralph Simmons, don't lace him. Got your wanna.
Huh? What? Don't wanna talk about the paper. I swear to God, these be haters. They be hating, I feel out of live in cul-de-sac, don't get along. Right with my neighbors. Diamonds on my neck and roll it on. Now I later got underbit flavors. I'm with my lifesaver. Ooh, feel like Darth Vader. I'm a boss, you know I might riff it. Ooh, right in my basement. Yeah. But you know that I'm gonna face it. Wait, that's the reason that
The Chargers are now on the clock.
yeah, I would have rapper, I made it. Yeah, I would have rapper, I made it. Yeah, got that rap all in my basement. Yeah, once I got patience. Yeah, I'm famous. Yeah, put myself inside Mark Jacob. Hey, making a place with my label. I get it, I count it. 100 on my table.
Turning silver lasers. Rubies red, my skin too black to blush, too red to tint, not pages. The scene on the wizard up. Pockets full of mint leaves. It's smelling like it brushed teeth. Say cheese, see the porcelain. Water, see backwoods. Raft dragging on the floor. In it. I'm torching the road in these Gucci flames. Stuck to the pavement, they glued. I'm 2.5 million in the venue in 20.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
I'm cold like I'm sick with the flu. I cover my face and I'm spring summer 2002. Yeah, please don't touch my ride. In the grass, Teddy, with the Teddy. Quick with the hands ready. Please don't touch my ride. Shirt off on cam, ready. Desktop in memory. Please don't pop my tab.
The Chiefs are now on the clock.
I've been since my early days, I've been stuck in my worldly ways. Propaganda, press, pan the camera, please don't look at me in my face. Everybody might see my pain, off the rail, might myself. Bored with life as aboard this plane. Steward this sex if I need help. Maybe what's your last name? Hopefully it still ain't been changed. Something about you make me not doubt your aqua silence. My brain scream louder. Asking when I'm gon' myself. Couple problems, my cash ain't help. Human issues too strong for tissue. False provider, war mass by wealth. Move your body if you came here to party. If not, then pardon me. How I'm supposed to have a good time with death and destruction's all I see. Out the sight, I'm out of my mind. The sound of sunshine is calling me. The vibrations is all I need.
The Lions are now on the clock.
Party people, yeah. Party people, I like to see you dance. Party people, yeah. Party people, I like to see you dance. Party people, move. Party people, I like to see you groove. This is how we do. This is how we do. Deja view from a bayside view. I see black cats in the daytime too. I see black cats on the daytime news. When handcuffed, wrist, sandy skin.
The Cardinals are now on the clock.
Rendezvous and fell starstruck.
Vince, the car's outside.
Got things to do, got to make my moves. I can't miss my flight and miss you too, boo. First class seats is overrated. Won't go unless they overpay us. Nowadays I'm overdating my street for
The Steelers are now on the clock.
calling me. Good vibrations is all I need. All I need. All I need. Move your body if you came here to party. If not, then pardon me. How I'm supposed to have a good time with death and destruction's all I see. Out the sight, I'm out of my mind. The sound of sunshine is calling me. Good vibrations is all I need. All I need. All I need. Party people, yeah. Party people, I like to see you dance. Party people, yeah. Party people, I like to see you dance. Party people, move. Party people, I like to see you groove. This is how we do. This is how we do.
I stay myself, I never change, yeah. Do whatever, get you paid, yeah.
Cause, but I still my cell phone. Still 33 for low. I'ma ride to my dog sitting in jail. Ladder on the grass, spin it back, roll. I'm on Keller, I'm on Bishop, I'm on Flat Shore. I'm at Magic, I'm at Bally's, let them go. Then it's right back to the when I'm low. Bars never close and we wide open. Kicking flavor with me, neighbor, yeah, we local. Rap the bottom, cause the bottom where we come from. Me no pray for little paper, need a lump sum. Real spill, yeah, I'd rather be, yeah. Broke, real, little rich. All in love with her.
The Jaguars are now on the clock. The Dolphins are now on the clock.
Don't blame me, I'm what the game made me, not what the fame made me. I won't let it change me, I'm the same man.
I stay myself, I never change, yeah. Dirty soda, treat me like a stain, yeah. Do whatever, get you paid, yeah. Rolling from the cradle to the grave, yeah.
On my hood, on my block, yeah. I won't stop, yeah. Play with me, I'll let it, yeah. Halo on me, Sailor Rock, yeah. Got me with the school, yeah. Keep one, move, yeah. You my little baby boo, yeah. I love you like my favorite color blue, girl. Real spill, yeah. Don't blame me, oh, niggas shame me. Had to get it how I got it on my phone to be. Don't blame me, I'm what the game made me, not what the fame made me. I won't let it change me, I'm the same man.
I stay myself, I never change, yeah. Dirty soda, treat me like a stain, yeah. Do whatever, get you paid, yeah. Rolling from the cradle to the grave, yeah.
Montana.
You know, I'm like, yeah, nice P, you know?
What up, Pink?
Man.
When I pull up, they notice me. Come and talk to me like Jodeci. But don't you be too close to me. Them goons you see, let it go for me. I bring them things, I call them, he bring them things. Mucho, I bring them things. Looking so expensive, rings and things. I bring them things. I bring them things. I bring them things.
Man, you don't want with them, bro. Oh, you, and you better get low. Extorting, you ain't got no friends. Oh, they'll be wear that like a Chanel scarf like rainbow. $1,000, this ain't your cloth. You ain't, that ain't no sauce. I can see the noodles made for poodles. I'm thinking about the LaFerrari coupe. 1.8, the option is the roof. Greens is a secret to the youth. Your goals are malnourished. Please spit the juice. Y'all be vaping, I be laden. Yes, y'all be aping. I'm Richard Mill Nation. No diamonds, just tourbillon facing with gears and sprockets with the sapphire casing.
When I pull up, they notice me. Come and talk to me like Jodeci. But don't you be too close to me. Them goons you see, let it go for me. I bring them things, I call them, he bring them things. Mucho, I bring them things. Looking so expensive, rings and things. I bring them things. I bring them things. I bring them things.
Here's a little story about a kid from Morocco. Had to show Carlito I was Benny Blanco.
Check it out.
Raindrop. Offset. Plug, we the outlet. Try to put me in the box, I'm in the box off. All the face shorty, socks off. Mac Miller, Reggie Miller, the killer, Canaries, Back Stiller, White Villa, French vanilla, garage like a kill him soft. Lauren Hiller, get up, crib Calabasas on the hill. I had him morning, plate. Beatles want Beatles on the red carpet. Alcatraz bars, crash cars, ain't no future in front. My homies rip your mask off.
When I pull up, they notice me. Come and talk to me like Jodeci. But don't you be too close to me. Them goons you see, let it go for me. I bring them things, I bring them things. I call them, he bring them things. Mucho, I bring them things. Looking so expensive, rings and things. I bring them things. I bring them things. I bring them things.
Yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Ay, yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Ay, every day I'm shot callin'. I'm a spray, make it rain just to let you know I've been ballin'. Ay, yeah, I've been ballin'. Yeah, just to let you know I'm ballin'. I'm a spray, make it rain just to let you know. Tell a hater get up on my face. Yeah, I've been ballin' since like yesterday. Yeah, all this money all up in the way. Yeah, all this money in the way. You know that I'm walking with the bang. Yeah, water, diamond on my ring. You know that I'm rockin' Philip Lee.
The Saints are now on the clock.
Yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Ay, yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Ay, every day I'm shot callin'.
The Titans are now on the clock.
Make it rain just to let you know I've been ballin'. Ay, yeah, I've been ballin'. Yeah, just to let you know I'm ballin'. I'm a spray. Make it rain just to let you know. Yeah, you cannot see me, the windows is tinted. Yeah, driving around right in that Bentley. Hey, you driving around right in that.
The Bears are now on the clock.
Yeah, but that is not
The Raiders are now on the clock.
straight to the top.
The Jets are now on the clock.
Yeah, she know I'm a rock star. Looking at my chain on my diamonds rock hard. Turned the way up, I ain't getting tired. And if you wanna race, then we gonna ride. Yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Ay, yeah, you know I've been ballin'. Ay, every day I'm shot callin'. I'm a spray. Make it rain just to let you know I've been ballin'. Ay, yeah, I've been ballin'. Yeah, just to let you know I'm ballin'. I'm a spray. Make it rain just to let you know.
Told you before, a king is born. Now I told you before, a king is born.
The Browns are now on the clock.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Like
The Browns are now on the clock.
in the heat of the rumble, I ain't got
The Bills are now on the clock.
I
I've been fighting these hard times in the ghettos of my mind. Now it's victory that I choose. Yes, my soul is blessed, the king is born. Mama, I confess I'm a bad, bad man. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend, legend. 'Cause I've been down so long that my crown and throne is destined. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend, legend, legend. Like a bull in a glass house. No bull about to smash out. Can't nothing stand in my way. I don't care what the place is. From the penthouse to pavement. You better hear what I say. Yes, my soul is blessed. The king is born. Mama, I confess I'm a bad, bad man. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend, legend. 'Cause I've been down so long that my crown and throne is destined. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend, legend, legend. King is born. Yeah, I told you before. Yeah.
The Colts are now on the clock.
Been broke before, but I never been broken. I told you before. I am the truth now, the truth has spoken. A king is born.
The Texans are now on the clock. The Chargers are now on the clock.
A king is born, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend, legend. 'Cause I've been down so long that my crown and throne is destined. Ain't no one like me. I'm a legend, legend, legend. King is born. Hey, hey, hey. Ransom. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Ransom. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Ransom. Hey, hey, hey.
I'm a running man. Sandals slipping off my feet on the sand. Counting up the bills with my dominant hand. Yo, yo, choose up. Take this, appreciate it. This too. Right, tear up the rim shot. I'm going global, coast to coast like my G.I. Joe present. I've yet to see a Cobra. So off my rocker got me sipping club soda. Some bombs never go off, some stars never blow up. I'm pitching in, never in the dugout. Reaching in my and I can't take a head count. Flashback.
The Bills are now on the clock.
Now I set foot in the place. It's a luau.
The London Black Knights are now on